Sickle cell anemia is how do I explain this thing? Yeah. Hi guys, my name is Juliet. As you may not know, September is the month for Sickle Cell Awareness, and I'm here to talk about my experiences living with sickle cell and how it's affected me. So, I was diagnosed with sickle cell at the age of 2 years old. Back then, I don't think my mum was aware of any testing while she was pregnant for diseases such as sickle cell, and so she wasn't really aware that things like that could happen or how to get tested for that stuff to know or to prepare for a child that's about to have sickle cell. So when I was 2 years old, I must have been complaining of some pain in my part of my body, and I went to the hospital and I got tested, and that's how they found out that I had sickle cell anemia. The average human being has a lot of red blood cells in their body, and all their red blood cells are circular shaped. With being a sickle cell person, we have fewer red blood cells in our body, which makes us more tired, and our red blood cells are crescent shaped. So if you think of the different moon shapes, you have the circular moon and you've got the crescent moon, which is like crescent moon, or like a sickle, if you know what the sickle instrument is, and it's shaped like that. And so whenever I'm dehydrated or I'm stressed out or I do a strenuous activity, that causes my red blood cells to become sticky in my vessels, and when they get stuck, that's when a sickle cell pain crisis hits. So for example, if I have a lot of red blood cells clogged in the vessels in my leg, for example, I have a really bad sickle cell crisis. For me, a sickle cell crisis can be compared to if I've broken my leg, for example. It can come anytime. It can come at any intensity. Sometimes the days that I have a pain crisis, it might not be as bad, and I can manage it at home with regular medicines like your paracetamol and your ibuprofen, and then it'll go away. And then other times, the intensity can just come full on. It's very painful, very hard to manage at home, and so I'd have to be admitted to the hospital for stronger medication. So one of my most memorable experience with sickle cell is I just started university last year, and so I was with my friends, we went to the library, and everything was well. The whole day I didn't have any symptoms, any signs that I'd have a sickle cell crisis, until we were walking up the stairs, and on the last flight of stairs, literally as I was about to just land on the floor, I started having back pains. Now, knowing me, back pains for me is the worst crisis that can happen to me. Whether it's my leg or my arm, I can manage it fine. But when it's my back pain, I know that if it starts off small, eventually it's gonna become very painful, and I'll need to get admitted. So for me, thinking, oh, my friends are here, it's my first day being at the library at university, and this sickle cell crisis wants to start, it's quite saddening. But I think I just tried to push it to the back of my head, saying, oh, please don't come hard, please don't become more painful than this. So I went to go sit down at the computers, and the back pain just started getting worse and worse. So I started fidgeting, started spinning around my chair to try to distract myself. And then it got really bad to the point where I started just lying down on the chair, and I thank my friends who were understanding. I called them to go get the librarian staff to tell them to call an ambulance, because I knew I wouldn't be able to make it home. That's when I called my mom. I was like, Mom, I'm having a sickle cell crisis. I can't. She was like, oh, can you go home? Are you able to make it home? I was like, no, Mom, I can't make it home. I'm not going to be able to walk down the stairs. And she was just saying, okay, just calm down. Are your friends there? Call the librarian, and then they'll be able to help you. So I was sitting down now. At this point, I'm literally shouting, I'm literally screaming, and my friend is helping me massage. There were 3 of my friends, they were helping me massage my back. The other was trying to get the librarian to come up the stairs. I don't know why he was taking so long. So when he eventually came, he was just asking me questions like, do you have, what's your name? Where do you live? Are you in pain? Just such obvious questions that I think I just got angry and I snapped. But my friend was kind enough to answer basic questions like what my name was, I'm having a sickle cell crisis, and that I needed an ambulance. So he goes and says, okay, we'll get the ambulance right away. And I'm just lying there like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. Like, I'm at uni, like my first week at uni, I'm trying to chill with my friends. And now my friends are here massaging my back and I'm screaming in the library. It was so embarrassing. But eventually, they come upstairs and tell me that the ambulance are on their way. For me, it felt like they were taking like 30 minutes to come because the pain was so much. But I think it only took maybe 5 minutes for the ambulance to arrive. They came upstairs, they brought a stretcher, and they gave me a gas called Entonox gas. It's a mixture of, I think, oxygen and nitrogen gas. And it's also known as laughing gas. So it literally relieves your pains, and it makes you feel like, it gives you the highest confidence you've ever seen in your life. So after they gave me that, the pain started to subside and I was able to stand up to walk to the stretcher. My friend was helping me carry my bag, and just answering the questions that the ambulance was asking me. At the time it was COVID, so my friends weren't allowed to come with me to the hospital, which was unfortunate. So I called my mom she called my mom to update my mom on what was happening. And I was just laying on the stretcher. I was on the ambulance and they took me to the hospital. So that's one I'll always remember because of how embarrassing it was, but also for the fact that I had a good support system around me. I had good friends that I literally had only known for a week. And they were understanding of the fact, I had sickle cell. Okay, she's in pain now. Helping me out when the ambulance was asking me questions. That's also how my love for medicine came. Just being around, the hospitals or just doctors or just the ambulance team, how they've always been caring. They've always known what to do. I've always left, with that 4 days, I've always left, painless. That's kind of where my love for medicine started. I loved, being able to care for people or even finding a cure for sickle cell in the future. I think that was my most memorable experience with sickle cell. Living with sickle cell has been okay. I know a lot of people, or from where I come from, my culture, when they hear the term, oh, your child has sickle cell, they think, oh my God, she has sickle cell, she's going to die, or her life is limited, blah, blah, blah. But really and truly, living with sickle cell is actually not that bad. I think it's just because of the fact where my parents were from in Nigeria, they didn't have the money or the resources to be able to fund for, the medications that I would need to be taking every day. Or if I'm having a crisis, they wouldn't have the money to be able to, pay for certain treatments at the hospital or even for admission at the hospital. So that would be why they would think it's a curse. But obviously living in the westernized, modernized world we live now, there's been more advancements, more treatments, more, medications that we can take now to live a proper long life. I've been living a very normal life so far. Anybody that saw me wouldn't think that I have sickle cell until I have a crisis. I think the only bad thing about sickle cell would just be when I'm having the crisis. But apart from that, I take my medications, I live a human life, I live a very normal life, I'm fine. And living with sickle cell isn't all that bad. As long as you have the proper care, you're going to your hospital checkups every 3 months or every 6 months, checking on your blood and everything. Sickle cell is perfect, especially when you have a good support system around you. Luckily, I always had my mum and my dad and my brothers around me. So when I was having sickle cell crisis at home, they'd always be able to, take care of me, give me medicine. The times where I'm lying down and I don't feel like speaking to anybody, I'll turn off my phone, I'll be sleeping for like 6 hours at a time. They'd always be there to, rub my leg, give me medicines, give me a hot water bottle. I hate when people think that I can't do something. because I have sickle cell, or they try and patronize me because I have sickle cell, and it's like, I can do it too, you know. For example, there was a particular, I don't know, if I wanted to work as something that required me to work for 6 hours, maybe an auntie that knew I had sickle cell would be like, are you sure you have sickle cell? Are you sure you're not going to collapse? Are you sure you're not going to? And it's just like, we're fine, like we're not, you know, we're not disabled, we're proper human beings. I take my proper medications. So sickle cell is not a death threat. It's not a life sentence. We can all live a normal life. We're all normal human beings. We're just the same as you. And yeah, I was lucky enough to be blessed with not having frequent pain crisis. I think I'd only get one maybe twice, 3 times at most a year. And that's due to, you know, me managing myself, always dressing warm, drinking loads of water, making sure I'm not under stress. And so yeah, people with sickle cell, we're warriors. We've been through a lot, and we're the strongest people. I always say, we're normal people, and we can live a normal, long life. So yeah.